Well, I'm trying to get a good picture here. There we go. The picture wasn't good to begin with. I guess I had too much glare coming off of the outside light. Might kind of turn. Let me turn the turn the tables a little bit. But yeah, these cameras, they don't get the proper light adjustment. You go light, dark, trying to adjust. Yeah, see, that's what I'm doing. I'm just moving just a little bit. Let me turn the table a little bit more this way, I guess, and try to. Hi, Brian. Yeah, I'm trying to give a little update on the weather in North Carolina. It's getting a little bit windier here on the western part of of North Carolina, not the United States, western part of North Carolina. Not a lot. Humidity still real thick out there. It's real muggy feeling. And like I said, we're getting a lot more clouds. Not much rain. Just every once in a while you feel a little weird, little drizzle, but not a lot of precipitation yet. The storm, I think, it's turning out to be. I know the Weather Channel and all the rest of them, I think they're disappointed that it wasn't as huge as it was. It's still a huge water storm, and it probably will do a lot of destruction. I sometimes wonder, excuse me, guys, I might kind of turn a little bit, trying to get a little bit better visual here. But I think sometimes they're searching. I've been watching Jim Cantore today on the Weather Channel and some of the others, and it's almost like they're wanting it to be a big event, and I think that's the unfortunate part of news reporting sometimes. Even though sometimes the event is not that earth shaking, they sometimes want to make it earth shaking. Now, this is a bad storm. Now, no doubt about it. It's going to cause some destruction. It's already caused a lot of delays in North Carolina. But with my perspective, from what I'm seeing with the transportation business and what I'm seeing with what it's wreaked havoc, it's wreaked havoc on me personally, because we've had to reroute things around it. We've had to cancel some runs. Tomorrow, we're canceling a lot of runs because of the anticipation of a lot of heavy storms coming through the two Carolinas. It's going to go down toward Myrtle Beach, cut back up, and then cut across the middle of the state and affect the upper part of South Carolina and the lower part of North Carolina. So close to the state line. And it's going to cause problems, but I don't think it's going to be at the magnitude that the weather people and everybody wanted it. I don't know if they wanted it to be. Let me rephrase it. I don't know if they're actually that bad about it, but I think with meteorologists and everything, they liked the excitement of some of the storms, and they like to be able to expand or whatever. They want to tell their story about every issue. And I'm glad we have people that are that knowledgeable. Don't get me wrong. They can, things like that happen. A tree's going to fall. And unfortunately, this is for people that don't evacuate. The people needed to be evacuated because there was going to be a lot of tragedy. And had we not had these evacuations, there would be people like that. And there's trees are falling. Trees are going to be uprooted. I had one personally myself this week that almost fell on my house. That's sort of prior to the storm. We've had a lot of rain, and things have gotten weaker on these older trees. But trees falling on houses, that's going to happen. And unfortunately, those people probably should have been evacuated. And I feel sorry for anybody. I'm not lowering that down, but we're in a society where we have all this information, And people need to take that knowledge. And if you get hurt in a hurricane like that, it's some of it is brought on by yourself. You hate to say it. I mean, this morning they showed 200 people being evacuated in North Carolina. Well, those 200 people knew that this was coming. Those 200 people could have moved to higher ground. They didn't. They chose, you got all these people wanting to ride it out. And then when it's sort of like, oh, well, it's not going to get that bad here. But when it does get that bad, then they won't help. And that's bad. And that's bad. It's bad for, you're putting rescuers in harm's way. You're putting yourself in harm's way. And then the cost factor is pretty bad. Yeah, it's bad. And those people shouldn't have been sitting on their roof. They should have evacuated. Newbern got slammed pretty bad. And, Wilmington didn't. Wilmington got the eye of the storm, but I think Newbern and some of those northwest of the storm got pounded pretty bad as far as the water. And the water's still going to cause problems. And you're still going to hear more stories like that. And it's sort of aggravating in a way to, sorry guys, I got to answer this right quick. Hello? Yes. For what? Okay. Well, let me get back with, can I get back with you on that? Yeah, you go ahead and start. Right. Okay, go ahead and do it. Okay. Sounds good. Let me get, I got to get up with Shane and a few others, so I'll get back with you. All right, see you. Sorry about that. I still run a business. That's a big part of my business are these darn phones. Carry multiple phones with me all the time. But now, hey, Doug, I'm glad to see you in here. And this, but getting back to the story of that, it's funny how people will let, they'll take all this information in and they'll say, oh, I think I can get by with it. And they shouldn't. They shouldn't. They should, take heed to that and just inconvenience yourself and go on. You're going to be inconvenienced anyway, but there's no sense in risking your life. I mean, if they tell me to evacuate here in my hometown, I'll evacuate. I don't think we will. We're going to be on the edge of just a bad storm, and it's beginning to rain over here now, and it's cloudy, and the wind's picking up a little bit. But I think the brunt of it is probably supposed to start getting in here Saturday and Sunday, and I really don't think it's going to be that bad. I mean, I don't want to see 6 or 8 inches of rain. That's what they're predicting for our area. I just don't want that much rain at one time. Never do. But if it's over 3 or 4 days, it's not going to be too bad. I hate to see the downpours. That's what I don't like. I don't want to see the downpour and the erosion and everything else. Let me get that. This late afternoon, I'm in front of my window here at the new Napa store, and the light's coming in and out on me a little bit. But as far as the storm is concerned, like I said, I think it's going to be still a major storm, but I don't think it's going to be the storm of the century, like some of them were saying. I think it's going to be bad enough, and it could be. I hope I'm right and they're wrong. I hope it's not going to be bad. I'm not going to. If it gets bad, I'm going to move out too. I'll go to a hotel. I'll go west of here, north of here, whatever it takes. I don't want to be caught up on it. You have to excuse me, guys. I'm trying to, let me move my table around one more time here. That's a little bit better there, I think. Yeah, I'm getting too much light from I was trying to show you how good of a busy area I was out here, but it's not gonna give a good picture. Not that y'all want to see my mug that much anyway. Yeah, 700,000 people are at it. The power lines. That's the biggest thing right there. Is the trees toppling, the power lines, the people being without power, and that's going to be the tough part. And I hope I don't have it here. We're trying to be prepared. I have one whole house generator. It's about a 19,000 watt generator that I've got that I can power my entire house with if I need to. And then I have several other smaller ones, some 6,000 and some 8,000 watt generators. So I'm pretty good shape there. If I don't run out of gasoline, I'll be in good shape. And then, of course, owning all the trucks I've got plenty of diesel fuel if I need it. And I have a couple of, pickup trucks with diesel, and I've got, I don't have that many gas vehicles. My daughter's vehicle's gas, well, hers is a hybrid. And my one F-150 is gas. But other than that, most of my vehicles are diesel, and I have plenty of diesel fuel because of my trucking business. So I'm in pretty good shape there. Hey, Ponca, how are you doing? Yeah, rain. Yeah, well, it's not raining too. It's just drizzles out here right now. It's just we're having a lot of traffic. I'm over here watching the traffic go by in front of my store right now. The traffic is moving good out here. A lot of people on the move doing something. I don't know if it's being prepared or they're just, I don't know. You never know. Some of the school systems actually closed down close to us. The Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system and Lincoln County school system decided to close today. Thank goodness they didn't on Gaston County. So my grandson, he went, so he didn't lose a day. He didn't lose a day because of that. And well, I thought about getting a diesel generator. I had an opportunity to get one, but it wasn't quite big enough. It was I don't think it was but about a 5,000 or 6,000. And I started to get one at an auction about 2 years ago. And I may yet get a diesel generator. My brother-in-law used to have one. He had a huge one. He had it had a 300 Cummins engine on a diesel generator. He has a place in the mountains. And I went with him to Florida to actually pick it up. And it was one that powered up cell towers. Somebody was selling at, I guess they had aged out or whatever, but they sold off a bunch of generators that were powering cell towers. So in case there was a power outage like what we're going through now and everything, that your cell signals could be still running, which is pretty neat. I mean, it was like I said, it was a 300 Cummins. It was a 300 Cummins engine, and the darn thing, it amazed me. It's sort of, it's probably the motorheads in the group here would probably like to hear about it anyway. As soon as, and it's kind of scared me too, because I kept thinking, I said, man, if that engine is not oiled up good and everything, you could throw a rod bearing in it, because it went to 2,000 RPMs, boom, automatically. I mean, it just, as soon as you fired it up, it would go completely wide open, it felt like. And I said, man, that's not good for an engine, because I never crank up a diesel engine of mine and run it, just slam it to the floor and keep it that way for 10 minutes, and that's what this generator did. When it fired up and it was running wide open almost immediately. But I don't know, it must have been. I don't know if it was a hot start or not, Brian, but it fired, it did it. I thought something was wrong. Actually, when we were checking it out, I asked the guy, I said, man, is that thing supposed to go wide open? I said, it looks like to me that it would, idle up, slower. He said, no, it has to. He said it had to do that to get the generator working. I mean, he said, when these things are designed, when that power goes out and it was tripping that, it had to immediately go to full power. So that's, yeah, it must have been. I mean, I'm not really familiar with the hot start, and that's probably what it was. But it was, it kind of confused me that it was that way. and but it was powerful. It was powerful. He actually sold it to somebody else. He put it up. My brother-in-law has a place in the mountains that's off grid. He actually built a real beautiful home, like a 3-story home, log cabin, and he did all the research, and he's got solar panels, everything else. But he wanted a battery. He wanted a generator backup, and he found this on the internet years ago. And he and I went to. It was down below Jacksonville, down near St. Augustine, Florida. That's where we picked it up. Some guy had it in. He had 4 or 5 of those. And my brother-in-law had seen it on the internet, and he decided to buy that. And I wanted me to go with him because he knew I knew diesel engines and check it out. And we checked it out. He bought it. We brought it back to on the other side of Newland, North Carolina, and put it. That's where his place is. He's up in a place called Minneapolis, North Carolina. He had a shed built and had it wired, and going back over to his house, neat setup. But then he got a little bit scared of the diesel gelling up there when the temperatures get really cold up there in that area. So he got a propane generator instead, and he sold that one. He sold that particular one. But it was interesting. It's interesting. Yeah, it must do something like that, Brian. I was ignorant of the fact. I knew a diesel engine, and I knew that part, but I was not familiar with one of them that would start up that quick and go wide open. I mean, it was completely wide open, real quick. But it did its job. But he got nervous about the diesel fuel gelling because up there in the mountains where he's at, he's on the side of a mountain. It gets cold, and that was the purpose of getting the backup generator. And he thought that he might be in tough situation if that diesel fuel gels up, and he tries to start and starves it, and he can't get it. And he had it designed to turn on, if it need be, if the battery backup gets bad, and keep his house warm so it didn't freeze anything in his house. So he's thought it out. He spent some money on it. He put a ton of money on the off-grid mechanisms, the solar panels, the battery backup, the generators, everything. He's got a lot of money tied up in that, but it seems to be a good system for him. But he's a doctor. He can afford it too. That's the other thing. He's a hand surgeon in Greenville, South Carolina. So my brother-in-law has done real well for himself. So he can afford these things way more than an old truck driver. But that was his dream. That's his dream home. And it's nice. It's nice. I like it fine in the summertime, not so much in the wintertime because it's tough up there. And it's hard to get to in the wintertime because his house is I want to say right at a mile on the very top of this mountain. And I helped him cut the road up through there, and it took us 6 months to get the road cut in. So it is a job to get up there, and job to keep it graveled and all that sort of stuff. But I digress. I'm giving you a story of a past that you may or may not want to know about. But getting back to the weather and everything over here in the Carolinas, I think we'll be okay, except that yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they use it in monitors, but see, the problem was he was not going to be up there all the time, and that was a problem with that, Brian, is the fact that he might be gone for 2 or 3 weeks, not be up there all the time. He lives in Greenville, South Carolina, and then he goes up there to his place that's on the other side of Newland up there in Minneapolis. If you've ever heard of Minneapolis, North Carolina, I didn't even know there was such a town as Minneapolis, North Carolina, but that's where he has his places. It's right off of the Appalachian Trail. The Appalachian Trail is actually behind his house. So that's how far up in the hills he's at. And, so it's a very beautiful scenic. You can see Grandfather Mountain for the people of North Carolina, they understand what Grandfather Mountain. That's, a nice scenic view off to the left of him. Grandfather Mountain's probably the way the crow flies, as the old saying goes, is probably, I don't know, 10, 15 aerial miles across through there. Road miles, probably 25 or 30. But the way the crow flies, it was probably a 15-mile stretch across between him and there. And you can see Grandfather Mountain from his cabin, or not cabin, it's a nice house. It's not a cabin. And you can, get on his balcony, get your binocular. Well, you can actually see it, with your naked eye, but you can see it real good with binoculars and everything. See the swinging bridge and all that. But real pretty area to me in the fall and the summer. Yeah, look it up. Yeah, it's right beyond Newland, and in Linville. We go through Morganton and Linville to get up there. That's the way I do. And but Minneapolis is a real little small town. I think it's population of 50 maybe or 75. I don't know. Small little town, but it has its own post office. So it's you can look it up on Google or whatever. Minneapolis, North Carolina. And how it got its name, I do not know. But maybe somebody from Minneapolis, Wisconsin, settled there and started. I don't know. But that's where his place is. But getting back to the weather, I think the next 48 hours we'll know what we're going to be involved with. It's like I said, it's I guess it puts you on edge, and the trucking business being on edge the next day or so. They decided FedEx is not going to run out what we call our line haul. We're not going to run it out tomorrow. We're going to delay it to Monday, which we usually do Tuesday through Saturday on most of the what called mainline butts or meet points. What it is, my guys will be leaving Charlotte. They'll meet someone in Knoxville, Tennessee that's coming out of Indianapolis, Indiana. And we'll meet at that point and switch out trailers, come back. Each going back to its own destination. Or we'll go from, I have a lot that go from, Charlotte, North Carolina to Lexington, Virginia. They'll meet somebody coming out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And they meet at that point, which is halfway, switch out loads, turn around and go back the other direction. That's the way I don't know if it's a hub and spoke, I get a meet point. Anyway, that's the way the trucking industry does, and a lot of corporations do that. FedEx Ground does it, FedEx Freight does it, UPS does it. A lot of people do that. If you don't run your double up when it picks back up. Yeah, well, no, we're probably, we'll run. We're going to run. We'll run a lot of runs, and when the weather breaks, they'll, as soon as the weather breaks good, they'll probably kick us back up a little bit and say, we need extra runs or whatever. We're going to be down, and we'll be down on runs, that's for sure, or backed up on runs. We've been delaying, like all my runs going to the Savannah, Georgia area this week have been rerouted through Atlanta, Georgia. And instead of going straight down to Savannah, we've had to more or less triangle down and back around, and FedEx has had to lose mileage that way by doing it, because the quickest and the cheapest route for them is to go straight from Charlotte down 77, down 26, down 95, meet down there and turn around and come back. Instead, now they're having to run down to 85, and the other opposing people on the other end coming out of Orlando or Ocala or coming up 75 and meeting us that point and turn around and coming back. But, we'll get into a more cost-efficient way once this storm passes. FedEx, it's like everything else. It's like circuitry of anything. Once part of the circuit is cut off, you reroute it. reestablish the way you're going to run it. And it's built into their system to, if it's a failure over here, you bring it over here, so on and so on, and that sort of stuff. So it's a good system, smart system. I like it. It's something to, what was it? That's right. Well, as long as you get your Amazon package. Yeah. And and then we do a lot of it. Hey, JC. Yeah. We're just talking about the weather. How's the weather up there in Tennessee? It's getting cloudier, a little drizzlier rain. The wind's picking up just a smidge down here, JC. Not violent or anything. It's not bad, but it's we're rerouting a lot of routes. That's what FedEx is doing to me, as I was saying. We're having to, they're going to cut off our routes for tomorrow and delay them to Monday, and not take any kind of chances of this weather going across the state of the, North Carolina, South Carolina. It's running right around the border of the states. And it will, they say, if their projections are right. Right now, it's just a big rainstorm. It's the wind. The wind has not been as violent. I think it's downgraded some. Hot and sunny up there, is it? Oh boy! So yeah, that's a good thing to do. What store are they shopping at today? Are y'all in Pigeon Forge, or what town are you in? There's plenty of shopping to do up there in Pigeon Forge. I hope you're getting a lot of relaxing times and less stressful times for you. My level of stress is bumped up a little bit this week, not too awfully bad, but it's bumped up a little bit. And I hope everything's doing good. You had a good chat last night. You had a real good signal last night, JC. I don't know what Wi-Fi you were on, but that was as good a signal as you've had in a long time. And it came through loud and clear. I mean, I could see you and the missus real good. And, it was a good chat last night. But, yeah, we're yeah, I know it. Well, that's a good vacation. That's a good vacation. And it looks like you're being able to get a little bit of that done, sitting back and relaxing, watching a little TV, chatting on the internet, and that sort of stuff. So that's a good thing, JC. I hope there's more days that you can do that, because it's fun to be able to relax. I enjoy doing some things myself and then relaxing too. The stressful part gets kind of tough. We got, like I said, we're rerouting a lot of things right now, and because of this weather, and we're just the rearranging of it and getting guys to cooperate. Anytime you upset the apple cart with a driver, and they're off on Sunday and Mondays, and you tell them, well, you're going to have to work Monday, but you'll be off Saturday. And they go, oh no, I had something planned for Monday. And I go, well, sorry, we got to change around. And they're happy to take that Saturday, but they also wanted that Monday. But then they want the check too. So I tell them, hey, it all meshes together. You got to work to get that check. We got to move it to get that freight going, everything else. Everybody has to be cooperative. And so that's the situation I'm in, is trying to coordinate and establish that all my guys will run Monday. And yeah, I know. Then their check is light. Yeah, I've had guys, they'll take a day off and everything, and they'll call. First thing they'll do is, and I'll know when I see it, I go, oh yeah, he's going to complain about his checks light. Let me remind him, he didn't work for 4 days. You're not going to get a 5-day paycheck by working 4 days. You took a day off. And or the first ones, the ones that really get you, is a guy that takes a day off, and then a week later he goes, I'm running short, boss. Could you loan me some money? Nope. My answer to that, and I've told a few before, until you see Bank of America tattooed on my butt, I am not a bank. I'll pay you every penny I owe you. I'll pay you what I owe you. I'll be glad to work you extra to get you extra money. But do not, under any circumstances, come to me and ask for money. I'm not going to do it. Yeah, that's right. It's exactly right. And I wish, they don't realize I don't just work 5. I work 7 days a week. I've got trucks running 7 days a week from some description. Not everybody's running 7 days a week. Not all my drivers run 7 days a week, but I have trucks routed every single day. So I am out here every single day working my trucking business. It's the way it works. Anybody who thinks that it's an easy business, yeah. Well, if it's in the contract, and I honor vacation days, I honor, holidays, whatever anybody has, I honor that. And I've got guys that are going to be off next week. We've got it written down. We know who's going to be off. We know, if it's vacation day, paid or non-paid, whatever the situation is, work with me and I'll work with you. But the people that upset me are the people that want to do their own thing without conferring, or relaying the information to me. That's what upsets me. I mean, I can handle people being off if I'm given enough time or whatever. And the other thing, and I had this happen to me this morning. I had a boy that didn't show for work. I had to rush and get somebody else to run in his place. And then he said, "Oh, I sent you a text." And I said, "When did you send me a text?" He said, "Well, I sent it to you a few minutes ago." He said, a tree fell on his house. Fine. I mean, if a tree fell on your house, fine. Pick up the phone. Give me a call. They said, "Well, I don't want to wake you up." No, wake me up. Wake me up. I do not care. Wake me up. I'll go back to sleep. I'll get my sleep. I have to have this information disseminated to me so I can pass it on to FedEx, so I can get my trucks lined up. Nothing is worse than for me to get a call from FedEx saying, "Your driver's not here. Where's your driver?" I'm going, "I don't know." Then I'm on the phone. Then I'm trying to chase down that driver, find out where the heck they're at. That's the worst thing for me. And that's what happens sometimes, is that the driver will, for some ungodly knows reason, and texting. I hate text. If you're trying to make that my first line of communication. Text is not my first line of communication. Calling me is my first line of communication. You call, I'll answer the phone. Texting me will only ensure the fact that sometime I'll get it, because a text won't wake me up in the middle of the night. I don't have my text set to give a big ring or anything. It won't wake me up. So the information might have been sent at 2:00 in the morning, but I didn't get it because I'm asleep. And I have told every one of my drivers, and I have to get onto them again sometimes. And some of them will give me the excuse, and I think it's just an excuse. You call me. I do not care what time of the day or night. I'm in charge of this business, but I cannot be in charge of it if you don't communicate with me. So don't expect an answer from me if you don't know that you've communicated with me. And texting is not a guaranteed way of communicating with me. And that's a crazy thing. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, and that's way good. And I think that's part of it, JC, is they avoid the confrontation with me if they do a text. And I think that's part of it. They look at it like, "Well, I told you." No, you didn't tell me. You texted me. And it may register in here that, you gave me some information. But until I can actually get that information. "Hey, Doug, how are you doing today? How is it? How is the weather in Alabama?" Probably nice down there, isn't it? But yeah, but like I said, yeah, these phones are Hey, Sarge, how's the weather? How's the weather down in? Are you in Florida right now? Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, that's what happens. People will call me JC, and text me. Then you try to recommunicate with them, and you can't get them to answer. You're heading out to Houston. All right. So you're in West Palm, picked up the trailer in Key West. Okay. Well, you're in at least a good part of the United States. No, shouldn't be any problem there. Scattered thunderstorms. Yeah. I think the East Coast is getting a lot of that. We're getting a lot of storms, and the what I've seen, the high and low pressures and everything else. And the like I said, the Weather Channel is disappointed that we don't have a more major thing. But like I said, I couldn't wait to see Jim Cantore hanging on to a limb or something. Oh, I got almost a sleeve there. But I didn't get to see that. Jim Cantore just running around checking in Waffle Houses this morning that they found open. But you know, it's good and bad. It's a good thing that it hasn't been as violent. I mean, it's bad in some areas. There's a lot of power down, and there's been some people killed. They said because of a tree falling on a house, and you know, I hate that. And that's unfortunately some people that didn't heed the warning to get out of that area, because right on the coast, if you stayed in the coast, and I have some of my best friends that have chosen to do that very same thing. And then this morning, it showed the National Guard and a few other things, a few other entities rescuing people. About 200 people have been rescued. And then, you know, it's almost to the point. I told my wife, I made this statement. I kind of stand by it. What's up, Daniel? Yeah, grab some in there on the desk. Yeah, there should you see those black pens in there? Are you? Well, go over there and the other one. I don't know where. Look over there and see if you can find some. I'm on YouTube. You want to get on YouTube with me, Daniel?
It's all right.
That's all right. That's Daniel Keener, he's the young man that works for me at Napa. We're going through the inventory at Napa. Come over here, Daniel. Did you find one?
No, I have not.
Come on over here. You can stand behind me.
Well, what am I going to do?
Well, you can just stand behind me. You can see. Get down, lean down so they'll see you. There's Daniel.
Hey.
He's
I work for this guy.
Yeah, he works. I'm a sweet guy too, aren't I, Daniel? No comment. He stood up and leaving.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. Okay. But yeah, Daniel is a young man he's real knowledgeable, and I'll put it up there so they can see you, Daniel. He's real knowledgeable in the Napa business. How long have you been with Napa?
Over 4 years.
4 years, yeah. He's my paint expert. He does all the spray cans that we put together. He's real good, and we got a powder coat business down the way, and he does a lot of their spray can touch-up paints. And what is it we got? We got the thing that aerosol, makes an aerosol can.
We make our own aerosol cans using our automotive paint system that we mix paint.
Right,
paint with.
And that's what Sherwin-Williams or
Yep.
Sherwin-Williams. Yeah,
which is their company.
But yeah, Daniel does a real good for us. He's in the back with Xavier, and they're going over our inventory and getting all of our old inventory from the other location that we bought last week. They were cleaning it up and getting it back in order. Okay, gosh, now I got a driver calling in.
Busy guy.
Hey, Donnie. Did you get my message on doing the same thing again? How'd that go last night? Yeah, well, they're liking you doing that, because Statesboro, they called and said, can we have Lanier again tonight? So it's so good. Just keep on doing that, and that's mainly what we're doing. Till we hear different. Yeah. Maybe they'll do some more of that next week for you. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later then. Stay cool and stay out of the weather. The weather's pretty good down in Savannah, though, isn't it? Nice little breeze. Well, we're getting a little bit more wind up here, a little more wind in North Carolina on this part, but not not too violent yet, but we'll see. All right, will do. See you, Donnie. And anyway, that's way the busy business stays. Well, I'll let you get back to work because I'm
Yes,
actually
sir.
paying you, aren't I?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, let me get him back to work. He's on payroll. He's getting those big bucks, aren't you, Daniel?
Oh yeah.
He's a good young man. Oh, me. Yeah. Did you find some? Okay.
In this box.
Yeah. Now those are sort of you have that's sort of like a felt. No, it's not a felt pen, but yeah, you see it. You have to click it down with the other piece. All right.
Oh, okay.
All right.
That's cool.
We'll see you.
I got 2 of them.
You got 2 of them. Okay. I'll charge them back to you. Oh, JC wants on payroll. Yeah. Join the crowd. I got a ton of them on payroll. I got about 50 people on payroll. So yeah, join the crowd. Join the crowd that makes me broke. Yeah. I tell you what, it's like everything. It's good to, I guess, Sarge, the weather on Savannah means a plane with the cocaine has landed safely. Okay, I guess. I wish I could watch the sky for falling money. I wish it'd fall over Cherryville. Maybe I can go get me a lotto ticket tonight and win the big lotto or something. Yeah, Oh, you'll take a 1099. Oh, okay. Wouldn't have to pay taxes on you. Yeah. Well, I'm like JC, and because me and JC have talked off the record and everything else. I like to. I'll do just about anything that I know that will make $1. That's why and even some that I know they're not going to make the $1 immediately, but hopefully the long term will be there. I wish I were 20 years younger. I wish I was JC's age, and able to have the knowledge that I have now and the connections that I have now and the everything I've got going. It's sort of funny. You run out of time once you get to a peak, and which I'm at that point. I do make good money. I'm not a broke person. I'm not a filthy rich person. I still get out and do the grunt work just like everybody else. I'm a believer in that. I believe, in doing the grunt work right along with the other people that work with me. And I think I get more respect. And I run trips on the trucks. I don't run as many because of there's a sort of a insurance factor that, if something happens to me, I could, impact my business pretty good. So I don't do too much of that. Brian, I hope you enjoy it. Nice seeing you in here for a little bit. But it's like everything else. Well, hey, Chris. Oh, you're uploading a short video right now too, huh? Okay. Well, I'll definitely go. I know JC and I will definitely go over and see it. I hope it's nothing that's going to scare me now, Chris. Chris has the videos that scare me sometimes. I go, whoa, you're going to turn that Bobcat over. Or, oh, that truck's going to run away with you. And that sort of stuff. It's sort of a little bit like, I can't think of that program used to be on, but anyway, you got to be careful. Yeah. I like Chris's videos. It's a safe one. Good. I like seeing some of the safe ones too, and I like to see your finds and everything. Chris he's a good auction finder, and I've looked at some of his stuff. I wouldn't collect everything he's got, but a lot of stuff he's got, and it's pretty good. Yeah. But the trucking business, getting back to it and everything else, and the Napa business keep me pretty busy. Okay, what you got? You got a sleigh this weekend? Is that like a sled? A sail? Oh, your spelling's bad. Okay, you've outrun yours. Oh, did you finally get a Kaufman? I got a Kaufman too. I got a Kaufman 28-foot gooseneck with the dovetail and ramps and everything that I'd like to maybe get. I say I'd like to get rid of it, but actually it's very useful. I'd like to get another one and I'd like to have one with the dual wheels instead of just single wheels, and it be a tandem also. And the ones I've seen like that, a little bit more low profile, a little bit lower, and get some things. I'd like to have something like that so I could pull a container. Really, I'd like to have one with a tilt where I could use it almost like a rollback. I don't know if they make one like that or not. Oh, the one you got's 53 foot, JC? With 3 foot and then 3 rear extensions. Okay. Yeah, trailers are fantastic. Exactly what I was getting ready to say, Chris. You said it first. Yeah, you can't have enough trailers and a variety of trailers. I've got a flatbed. I've got a lowboy. I've got several utility trailers, enclosed trailers. I've got 2, 3. I got 3 enclosed trailers, some 20 footers, some 12 footers, some 24 footer, a lot of things. Yeah, the dual tandem. I like the dual tandem. Yeah, dual tandem is about all I would need if I could get me one. Those are. Now, is yours a triple dual, Sarge? I mean, that'd give you a lot more capacity. I don't know what the GVRW is on some of those trailers. Well, my chat's getting faster. I can't even keep up with it. I have to give me another screen over here to keep up with what I got. But yeah, a man never gets enough trailers, I don't think. And like I said, if you got a variety of trailers, it's just fantastic. Oh, you want to get it downgraded to 12K? Yeah. Well, that's the way to go. Yeah. And that's it. I mean, you can build in a lot of versatility on some of your trailers, and even modify them too. Once you get them, if you're good at welding or whatever, and we've done some things like that. That's you got a wagon for every need. Yeah, I've seen some of them. Yeah, it's like you have one that was an old van that was cut down and made into something. I believe I remember seeing something like that. Yeah, I like seeing inventive ideas that people have taken and done something with. Take something just out of the ordinary and different and modify it. And I've done a few things like that. I've got one thing I never have shown. I probably ought to show it on the internet. Of course, it'd probably get copied as soon as I'll show it. But I took. I had a friend of mine. We made our own sort of a scaffolding setup for my skid steer, where it's a scaffolding, and then I can get into it with my forks. And the scaffolding itself is up about 8 feet, and I've got a platform on it, and we've got the rails and everything around it, so you feel safe up there. And then we can get our forks, then tie it down to my forks of my skid steer or my tool cat, and then we can get somebody up even higher. I think my skid steer will go up about 12 feet, 10 or 12 feet, and then this, being on top of it, will project you up another 10 feet, I think. So you can, in essence, get up about 20 feet and be level. And it's great for working on stuff on buildings or whatever. and it's pretty neat. Yeah, it's basically a platform. Yeah, well, I'm old. I need a platform. Ladders are not my friends. At my age, I do not want to fall off of a ladder or even a platform. I like being safe. When I get up high, I don't mind getting up high, but I want it to be a safe mechanism to get up high. I'm just not going to risk, uh, with my agility at my age. I mean, I'm still pretty stable. I'm not feeble or anything, but you got to have your own bearings. You got to know where you're at. You got to know that you can maneuver. I can't get down with my knees are a little more weaker, and all your upper body and everything else. As we get older, we're going to lose some of those faculties. That's like when I'm out pulling converter dollies for these twin trailers and everything. I don't like it anymore. It really works me hard. Yeah, that's right, and it does. Your mortality. The older we get, the easier we realize we can lose it in a split second. Just like I lost a good friend just a few weeks ago that flipped over a zero turn radius lawnmower into a lake. His father had a lake house, and he was mowing grass on a bank and knew that he shouldn't have been down there. And his dad had warned him, and he had warned his dad about being down there. And he flipped it and went over into the lake, and they didn't find. He either drowned or broke his neck. They don't know. But anyway, he flipped it over and killed him. Same age as me, and it's real tragic. He was a great rebuilder. I'd even talked to JC about him because he was real good. Okay, here's another driver. Hey, Russ. Okay, now you broke up. Has anybody said anything about what now? No, what's wrong with what needs to be done on pintle hook? Well, no, nobody. You everything was all right though, didn't it? No issue. Okay. 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 All right. Well, that's probably just one that needs to be replaced then. If it's got too much slack in it, then we need to go ahead and pull that one off and replace it. Okay. Well, somebody may have bent it. Somebody, that's what happens sometimes when people twist, get them in too big of a twist. It'll twist the two jaws apart a little bit. And that being cast and everything, we can't do anything with that. So we'll probably have to replace that pintle hook. But I'll just be careful with it while you're using it. Of course, now you realize I've already discussed it with you that you're not going to go back out till Monday morning. Okay, all right. Well, I'll jump on that and try to get that fixed over the weekend, and we'll see what we can come up with. We're also working on yours. We may have your truck back to you come Monday. So I'll text you or call you and let you know if your truck is back down on the yard. All right, and then we'll get that one back, and they may have if they finish yours up this afternoon. Probably what I'll do is get Brian to run it down tonight, switch out and run that other truck, and then we'll get it back in the shop and fix that pintle hook. All right. All right. Thank you, Russ. All right. See you. Sorry, guys. Real world, though. I have to deal with these things all the time. Yeah. I'm reading some of the text right now, so I'm trying to catch up since I was on the phone. Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, if your tractor has got a roll cage, yeah, I think you're a lot better. Yeah. I don't want to be in any rollover, to tell the truth. I was in a rollover when I was a young kid. I rolled my mother's car, and okay, well, let me get up here on Sarge. Yeah, I need to do that. This is my life, Sarge. We keep a lot of. We got a couple of guys that actually live here in my hometown, and they shuttle my units back and forth from the shop, and which is a great thing for me because it keeps me from having to make a special trip. And what we do is, I have one guy and he calls me every afternoon. His name's Brian also. And Brian will call me in the afternoon. He goes, what's up for tonight, boss? And I'll just tell him, take this truck down, swap out, get this truck, bring this truck back to the shop. And, those are the things that we do a lot of. And I try to keep it busy and try to be productive and try not to, be running over top of each other. I mean, there's nothing worse than, me just bobtailing down for no purpose whatsoever other than just switching out a truck. If I've got a purpose, and this is why I have I have two guys that leave my shop every night, and I basically give them the miles, let them drive my units down because they're doing shuttle work for me. They're getting a free ride down to Charlotte without having to drive their personal vehicles down. And, yeah. And, that helps out. That helps out. Yeah. Yeah. JC had a lot of good people in his chat room last night. And looking at Chris's post. Yeah. 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 Eric is a real smart guy. One of the best. And Jonathan was on there too. And I've been watching Jonathan's channel. I was turned on to his channel. He's another North Carolina boy, good old country boy. And I like what he does. He takes the low end stuff. He's not like he says, he's not a rebuilder that goes out and spends $10,000 and just plops parts on stuff. He actually takes old parts from here and old parts from there and makes stuff happen and makes stuff work. Yeah, I have. I've been enjoying Jonathan's videos. I've caught up on a few. I hadn't watched all of them, of course, but I see what he does. And just another good old, yeah. I like seeing people that are just salt of the earth, that know how to do things, that are not, quote, or like my granddaddy. And I always like to quote my granddad, as he used to say about a certain person that lived in his community. He says, "Don't mind that person there. He's educated way beyond his intelligence." In other words, the old boy had lots of degrees he could stick up on the wall, and you would think he was a master of everything, but he was a master of none, because he had degrees, but he didn't have education. He was not. Education to me is when you can take certain things, you learn it, and you apply it. If you can't apply what you know, you are not educated. You may have a certificate that says that you passed a course. You may have a certificate that says you passed the minimum amount of this or that. But if you can't take what you actually have seen, have practiced, and put it to practice. In other words, if somebody says, here's two pieces of metal, here's how you weld, put these two pieces of metal together. If you get in there and you splattering all over the place and it comes apart, just because you took the written test, just because you passed and you can explain how everything was done, does not mean that you have educated yourself. All you have done is passed a written test, maybe. A person that can take something and apply it in life, whether it's welding, whether it's truck driving, whether it's ditch digging, whether it's landscaping, whether it's anything that can be applied to. That's real education to me. I mean, I know, of course, there's some people in other skills too, as a doctor or whatever. If you can't take what you've learned as a doctor and apply that to everyday life, then you're not a good doctor. Same way as a lawyer. There's lawyers in every city in the United States. Some of them are good and some of them are bad. Now, and why does that? Why and it goes back to the old saying. You know what they call the guy that finished last in medical school? They call him doctor, because he's a doctor just like the guy that finished first in medical school. But you don't know in between there how good of a doctor they are till you actually see them practice. And that's another key word too. That's what I always tell my brother-in-law, who is a doctor. I said, well, one of these days, maybe you'll learn that because you keep practicing. And that's the way I look at it. It is a practice. Everything in life's really a practice. You've got to. We're going to educate ourselves every single day. Just like myself, I'm an older man. I have to do certain things on the computer that a lot of guys of my age don't want to do, but I like it because I want to educate myself. And this is one of the things I've always liked is computers. And the better I am with that, the better I am moving forward with things. But I have to educate myself. I have to apply myself. I've got to apply myself into doing certain applications. That's like the parts business. I am not a proficient parts person per se. I have people that work for me that are way better at that. I am getting them to teach me how to actually run the internal part of the parts. I know how to manage the business. I know how to make money with the business, but I am not educated on running the parts part of it. I'm educated on running the entire business, but not I can't dissect every little aspect of it. And I think you don't need to have certificates. I myself, I don't either. I've gone to college. I went to college out of high school. I went almost 2 years. Of course, I got married during that time, so that kind of delayed anything I wanted to do. I was wanting to be an electrical engineer, and there's a certain level, there's a certain point in time in your life that you probably say, this is not going to fit what I really want to do in life. And is my goal to have more diplomas, or is my goal to actually learn more skill? And I chose the other way. My goal was to learn more skills than it was to have diplomas, because I look at it, what's actually going to better myself, what's actually going to make more money for me, what's actually going to be productive. And for instance, I don't compare myself with this gentleman, but Bill Gates did not graduate college. He's got a Harvard education. He dropped out as he was building Microsoft. I don't think that the boy that started Facebook finished college either. He may have, Zuckerberg. He may have gotten it since then. But and there's been a lot of people that have been very successful that did not finish college, did not have the diploma to prove anything. And actually, to me, and I say these things, and I was so proud of my son when he got his diploma at NC State as an electrical engineer. But he's that type that needed that, and he needed that to further his career as an electrical engineer. But myself, I didn't need that to move on. And you're talking about a GED there. A GED is great because you went back and you got your high school education, and I'll tell you a short story about that. One of my best friends, he joined the service before he was in his senior year, dropped out in his senior year. Something happened to him. He was in Florida at the time. And he decided he wasn't going to finish his senior year. And then he got drafted to go into the Vietnam War. But he finished his GED in the service, and then went on. And when he got out, he went he and I both were college classmates, and he was smart as a whip. He went on and got his 4-year degree in engineering, and then he got a real good job as an engineer, and very smart guy. So there's nothing short about a GED, and some people, like I said, think it's just good enough education or whatever, but we're all what we apply ourselves to be. I mean, if we don't apply what we have knowledge-wise, whether it's learned out of a book or learned firsthand, and I'm a big proponent. I love apprenticeships. I think being an apprentice in somebody's trade is one of the best things you could possibly do. I learned how to be a yard switcher and back trucks by being an apprentice, and I had to do it on my own time at Carolina Freight when I was still in high school. I knew that I wanted to learn that. Part of it being that my dad was a truck driver, and I was enamored in the fact of how good Dad could back a truck and trailer, and I liked heavy equipment, and I wanted to learn that. So I took out the time myself to learn how to switch trucks as a teenager at Carolina Freight. And then I got good at it and got hired on a regular basis to do that. Got in the union. I got in the Teamsters Union, and that was my first big job, you might say, that I had. And, that's what you've got to do. You got to take these skills and learn these skills, whether it be something simple or something complicated, and apply it. If you can't apply it, I mean, this is why I love YouTube. I love to meet the guys and talk to the guys that are on YouTube that demonstrate things, what they know. And you can pick up on things and you go, oh yeah, this guy did that. That's pretty smart. Or this guy did this. I can do that. And so on and so on. And so the knowledge of YouTube is very good. It's very vast. And that's one thing that I know I've gotten into it. Whether it be something technical on computers or technical on something mechanical, I'll always go, somebody's probably done that. Let me see. And I get on YouTube, check it out. And there's Jimmy Smith from Australia that's done something on this, on woodworking. I go, okay, that's cool. Let me watch it. And you'll know right quick if it's good, bad, ugly, whatever. That's why the click-throughs are so much. I mean, some people, you jump on it, you go, well, I like it or not. And some of them are not informative. So, I know I'm rambling on. I've been rambling on for about an hour, but I love to talk to the guys that are out here and that I see that jump in and chat. Hope I give them a few minutes of my time. I'm going to get off. I'm getting like JC was last night. I'm getting my wife is not here to get me a Mountain Dew. So I'm going to have to get one myself. But guys, I'm going to get off. I'll keep you updated on the weather around here. JC, you have a good time in the mountains. If I could get up there, I would. I actually had a friend of mine called and may need some help up toward the mountains. If that happens, I may come bouncing your way tomorrow or something. I'll see. But I'll give you a call, JC, if that happens. Chris, you stay safe out there. Sarge, all the rest of the guys, y'all stay safe. I'm going to get off. I'll give you an update of the storm, good, bad, and the ugly of it. And I'll talk to y'all at a later time, and y'all take care.